Hello. How's everyone doing tonight? This is a very impromptu stream, as I usually do. You guys are probably used to that now. I like just doing streams randomly here and there when I get a chance. And, I started up this horror podcast slash show. And hold on one second. One second. Hey, Las Cruces, what's up? Sorry, I have this notification real quick. I don't know what this is. Okay. Sorry. Distractions. But as I was saying, yeah. So I started this horror podcast, and I really wanted to go hard on it for Halloween season. You know, as to be expected, right? So. I really wanted to go on live last Friday for Friday the 13th, which I hope you all had a great one. I did. I definitely was like torn because I was like, "Oh man, should I go live and do like a some kind of episode?" I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I was like, "Yeah, I should really go on live to like kind of just hang out with some people, some peeps out there that also love doing things on Friday the 13th." Some people think that's weird. I freaking love it. So I was like, or I could do that, or I could, watch movies and just enjoy the night and not have to worry about streaming. So I was like, decisions. So I ended up just watching all the Friday the 13th movies this entire weekend. I just really went hard, guys. I went hard. And I haven't done that in so long. It was so awesome and so fun. I had such a good time doing it. And I'm not gonna lie, at one point I was like, "Oh man, it's getting a little rough." Like towards part oh, I must have been near part 7, 8, where I was like, "All right, all right, this is getting a little tiresome." But so, I've seen most of these movies. The only one I haven't seen, I think, was Jason X. And that was my first viewing of it. And otherwise, I've seen all these movies. So, as much as I love them, watching them all the way through for the weekend was crazy. But like I said, I have not done something like that in quite a while with that franchise particularly. I watch them like here and there, but never like sit down and just like binge. So yeah. Hey Erin, what's up? What's Erin saying? I have gotten a few tattoos. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I love doing things, doing just, treating it like a holiday, basically. That's always awesome. Yeah, I ordered some pizza. I got some Takis. You guys, I think I'm seriously entering my like Takis era because I'm just going to town trying all different kinds of Takis lately, and it's been so fun. Like some of them I don't like, but I tend to like a lot of them. I used to be a hot Cheeto girl for my movie snacks, right? But I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but as of late, I feel like hot Cheetos have not been as spicy as they once were. So I thought I would try like little by little here and there throughout the past few years. I've been like munching on Takis here and there, but it was never like my go-to. And I think I've finally like fully converted. I think it's Takis from now on. And yeah, I really love the zombie flavor, guys. Have you tried the zombie flavor? It's a bomb. Bomb.com. But anyways, I digress. Friday the 13th. We're going to go through all of these right now, and I got them ranked. Look at all my scribbles. This time I took like legit notes. Last time I just ranked them and I wasn't like with the Saw franchise. I just ranked them. I wasn't even like taking real notes because I've seen those quite often and I didn't think I needed notes, but oh my god, it was really hard trying to remember which one was which. So I learned my lesson, and this time hopefully it'll be easier to remember. But I did have some technical difficulties when I was watching these movies because I was like, great, I have this set here with me. But my box set and like my old DVD set, is in storage in Vegas. So I was like, "Oh, thank God I got this one earlier this year." So I was happy and I was, it's so funny. I was even like, "Man, this is such a cute little like case and it's so great." Like, "Oh man, I almost like I'm preferring this over the box, the big bulky box." And so everything was going great. I was popping them in, I think I got to part 5 though, and like my disc wasn't playing properly. Like it was only playing some sound, like some of the ambient noise, and some of the music tracks. And then it was like completely like no like zero dialogue, and then I would like fast forward, but then you could hear some dialogue later on the disc. I was like, "What is happening?" And I was like trying to figure out like settings and stuff, that didn't really work out great. So I was like, I don't know what is happening here. And you guys know I'm a video person, so I was like, I know I'm hitting the right settings. This is correct. I don't know. It has to be the discs because the other discs were playing fine. So I had to play the digital. I had to go and redeem these digital codes for the last 4 of the 8 pack. So I was pissed, and because you guys know I like my physical media, but it's not that. It's just the principle of like having paid for it. I mean, it wasn't that expensive, but still, you know what I mean? All right. Anyway, so yeah, that was a whole ordeal, but I got through it, watched the digitals, and God, I got thoughts on Jason X. That was insane. And like, what's funny? I had always seen Jason X at the old rental stores. Like or yeah, like the DVD. I vividly remember seeing that case. And as big of a horror fan as I was back then, I never felt like I wanted to watch that for some reason. I guess it looked like so different than the rest. It just didn't look like a sequel to me. So I never felt like picking it up. But anyways, I'm glad I did. I finally watched it. So let's get into the countdown slash ranking here. We're going to start with number 12. We have part 5, A New Beginning. You guys, this movie sucked the first time I saw it. And I was like, okay, I haven't seen it in a while. I remember not liking it before, but sometimes bad movies grow on you, and I thought that was going to happen. Like, okay, maybe, after some time, it'll give me a little perspective and maybe I'll enjoy this movie. And sad to say that I disliked it even more. I had zero tolerance for the characters. Everybody and everything is annoying in that movie. And I'm sorry, like it sounds like I'm going hard right off the bat, but I am starting at 12. So this isn't like Saw, where like at least I like some of the like not so great movies. Like they're still enjoyable to me, and the series in general is great. I don't feel that way with the Friday franchise. A lot of them are good, but like some of them I'm just like, dude, what is happening here? And it's weird cuz like they were on a good run for a while there, like one right after the other, right after the other, and then 5 hits and it's like, good God. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I think for me mainly it was characters. They felt very over the top. It felt like I was watching a TV like episode of like a low budget caricature, like almost cartoon version of Friday the 13th. Um, I don't know. And obviously it's not really Jason either, right? So we have an imposter, and yeah, just nothing about him felt menacing to me. Like he would just, he walks around like a normal dude with the with the mask on. Nothing about this movie really creep me out at all. Music was pretty different for this one too. I mean, I guess I give him props for trying something new, but it just was not great. Like execution wise, just was not great. Um, and what's it called? Tommy in this one, that was another thing. It just felt inconsistent with his character from part 4. Like it didn't feel like this was an older Tommy Jarvis that we were following. It just felt like a completely different character to me. Doesn't didn't look like him at all, and also and I know the one in part 4 is a kid, but still, like, you wanna get some kind of resemblance, a little bit? Maybe even some brown hair? Uh, no, I don't know, but this guy was, like, not cutting it. He's not cutting it, and it was weird that they kind of made him, like, this, like, just so damaged, and, like, I understand what he went through was, like, crazy and all, but God, like, he was just so skittish, like, PTSD constantly, and it's weird because when he was a kid, it was like you would think someone like that would be, like, fight or flight, like, he would be the flight person, but in the previous movie, he was definitely a fight person, and he was, like, standing up to everybody or standing up to Jason and helping his sister and stuff, so it's it was weird for me. That one just was a major fail for the franchise, in my opinion. I just did not care for it. And then they had I guess I'm trying to think of who was the most likable character, but I guess in this particular franchise, like, it's not really about who's likable or not because they all get murdered anyways. So, yeah, the kills weren't even memorable in that either, though, to be honest. If I'm trying to think and let's see if I wrote anything in my note. What did I write in my notes? Let's see. Hated it. Cringy. Um, let's see, what else did I write? Oh, dumb ending. What was a dumb ending? I don't even remember the ending. Oh, yeah, when he like dude, that was so crazy. So they try to put a twist on it and have Tommy Jarvis like turn or whatever, and then you know he creeps up behind the chick and is like about to stab her, and then it ends. I don't know. They need to just retcon this whole movie, I think. Hey, Art Chemist, what's going on? I'm just yapping about the worst Friday movie, which I think is part 5. I'm going doing a ranking here because I binged all of them over the weekend, which is actually a lot bigger of a task than I thought it was going to be. But because it's weird, the Saw movies went by so quick, but Friday the 13th, I thought was going to be that way, but it was a little more daunting, to be honest. Uh, if you get the chance, watch Pope's Exorcist. You know, I've been meaning to. I've been meaning to. I've heard, so I've heard mixed things. When it first came out, like I felt like it got a lot of hate. But now that some time has passed, I feel like more people are watching it, maybe streaming or whatever. And I'm hearing a lot more positive reviews, especially like from like horror fans. So now I'm like really tempted to just go check it out. Nah, Jason Kusu's face was trash. We will get there. We'll get there for sure. Yeah, this series definitely has some high highs and low lows. Let's just put it that way. But all right. All right. Let me crack this thing open. Sorry, I'm getting a little thirsty here. Cheers, guys. A little energy for the evening. Pink. Have you tried this Zoa by The Rock? It's pretty good. The tropical punch one's bomb. Okay. Okay. So I think I've ranted enough about this one. So let's move on. Yeah. Shall we? Let's see. Okay. So number 11 goes to Jason X. Speaking of, Art Chemist just called this one out. And not gonna lie, I have to agree with you, Art Chemist. This one also felt coincidentally, even though this was years later after part 5, it also felt like a super cheesy, low budget kind of TV episode of like some kind of or crazy sci-fi, right? Um, it also kind of felt like Power Rangers in a weird way. I don't know if you felt that, but I definitely did. And oh man, what is there even to say? Like nothing about this movie was suspenseful. I will say it's entertaining because I was intrigued and wondering how the heck this was going to end. I did like the whole what was that? When they were like in that virtual reality like simulation kind of game. I thought that was pretty clever for the time. I'll say that. And the honestly the effects didn't look terrible there either. So in terms of Jason's new look in that, I have mixed feelings about. Like, I kind of dig the actual mask, but he looked like a huge like dude on steroids. I don't know, man. He looked out of this world. He looked like the equivalent of how the superheroes looked in comic books in the 90s, where everything's just like extra big. That's what this movie felt like ripped straight out of a comic book from the 90s, which isn't terrible. I love 90s comics, but I guess I didn't know what to expect from this movie. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but it's definitely ridiculous and it's crazy how far we've come from from part 1. You know what I mean? It's such a different animal at this point that it's almost like it doesn't even belong on this list. So our chemist is laughing out loud. That would have made a better movie. Rita making Jason one of her monsters. Exactly. That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, "Where's Rita? She's gonna pop out." Um, yeah, yeah, and the kids just like running around and slowly getting murdered, which is typical. But this one, oh man, the dialogue was so cheesy. Um, CGI. Like I said, the simulations were pretty good in terms of CGI, but everything else, like when that alien thing falls on him, that was crazy. That looked terrible. And then also the explosions looked terrible too. And there's a part where they run into like glass. The ship runs into another or a station or something like that, and like it hits glass and you hear the glass shattering and it's like it just looked super super like cheesy and like they didn't care. And uh yeah. Let's see what do my notes say here. um Jason X. Oh yeah. Yeah, I said it feels like an Elseworlds Jason, which like honestly, like you could technically call it that, I think. That's how I see it. That's how I choose to see it. That's the only way I cannot hate it is that if I think like in my head it just isn't really a part of a part of the series, you know what I mean? So, yeah. All right, moving on. Freaking Jason X. Oh my god. Ugh. Okay. Coming in at number 10 is a Jason Goes to Hell. Surprise, surprise. Um, can I see what year this was released? Jason Goes to Hell. 1993. Okay. So this one is cheesy in a different way. And considering that it's early 90s and they didn't know what to do with the character clearly at this point, um, it's not really surprising what we did get in this. Uh, it kind of even reminds me of like when Michael Myers, when that supernatural storyline started kind of taking place, where there's like almost like a cult that he's a part of or whatever. You remember that? That's kind of what this felt like, where they tried to incorporate the supernatural and the fantastical. Honestly, I also did not hate this movie, even though we didn't get to see as much Jason. It was still kind of a fun watch, in my opinion. Um, a lot of hysterical one-liners. I was cracking up, like, just because. So, like, there's a difference between that kind of writing and then Jason X kind of writing. Jason X was just like eye roll. But this writing, it was actually like funny in a weird way. I don't know. I actually enjoyed the humor in that. And this one also felt almost like a Sam Raimi type of humor. Hey, Moises Toy Box, what's going on? How are you doing? Good to see ya. We're talking Friday the 13th, and I'm just ranking them because I watched them all. Movie was a comedy. Great Freddy dialogue. Um, yeah, hit the thumbs up. But yeah, so anyways, back to it. Um, let's see. This one also kind of felt like a comic book to me. A lot of horror comics like have that kind of over the top gore as well, and you see that a lot in this one. I thought the practical effects were really good in this, actually. Like, I was thoroughly disgusted with several of the scenes. And was it suspenseful and creepy to the point where I was on edge? Not really, but just the gore in it, the gross like tongue thing, and like when the dude starts his face starts like melting off, that was pretty crazy. Um so yeah, it gets points for practical effects. For sure. And then what else did I write? Mm, what else? I wasn't a fan of the whole like, oh, this is his sister. Like, what? Since when does he have a sister? Like, that was crazy. And they just kind of treated it like, oh no, like, it's not a big deal. This is part of the lineage of Voorhees. Um, yeah, that was pretty contrived, I thought, but it was fun though. It was fun. I enjoyed this more than Jason X, and obviously clearly. Um, so my list is more of like I tried to weigh out like the quality of the movie, but also like the way it made me feel, if that makes sense, and if I enjoyed it. So that's how I rank. And I've been slowly like trying to get better at ranking because my friend Carlito is always asking us to rank and I'm terrible at it. So yeah, I've been trying to figure out like how I would gauge each movie. So that's why I'm doing these. Okay. Next up, we got number 9. New number 9. What? Yeah, number 9. Sorry, I'm getting confused with the list here because of all these numbers. If you guys don't know, I'm terrible with numbers. So if I noticed in the last episode, I said it was episode 6. It is not episode 6, by the way. That was episode 2, and this is episode 3. Just so you know, just to clarify. Yeah, I don't know why I confuse my numbers, but anyways, back to it. New Blood. This is number 7. Number 7. New Blood. Which one's that one again? Yes, it's the one with the chick that has, like, telekinetic powers, like Carrie. That one I thought fell flat. It's weird because like, the last few times that I've seen it, I remember liking it a lot more than I did this time, which is odd. Because like, I remember really liking it, and this time, I don't know if it's because I binged them all and compared to the other ones, that it just didn't stand out as much as I thought it would. So, yeah, I was not as impressed with it. It was a little slower, and then the 3rd act is awesome. I do like the 3rd act and, the confrontation and everything like that oh, and then, like, the dad shows up or whatever. Like, I thought that was all kinda cool. Um, it was weird, but again, they started with the supernatural stuff with that, and I'm always kind of a fan of that because it's like when you've already exhausted all these other, ideas, or if you're this far along in the franchise, like it's fun to kind of try different things, whether it turns out great or not, like at least they tried. So, I think this was a better way to incorporate the supernatural stuff as opposed to what's it called? The Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah. Yeah. They're both like all right in my book. Like I would watch both of them again, but they're not the best either. Somewhere in the middle, right? Okay. Now, oh, I forgot to mention the kill that I like in that one too was the doctor. God, that guy was such a dick though. The doctor, oh my gosh. So when Jason comes at him with that spinning, I don't know what to call that thing, like the spinning saw or like chain, it's not a chainsaw, but anyways, that was like the best kill of the movie, I thought. All the others weren't as standout. Um, and yeah, the characters were cool. I liked the mom. I was sad she died, to be honest. I feel like all the moms die in this, right? I guess the dad died too, so whatever. Anyways, poor girl. Poor girl. She's probably. Oh, and I wrote here in my notes that I liked the makeup in this. So yeah, so the makeup effects were great on Jason particularly. So because yeah, he's like at this point he's a zombie already. So I feel like his look is better in general once he has that supernatural like revival, it's awesome. Like I love to see all the like gooey stuff trickling off of him. It's the best. And then like his bones, you can see him popping out and stuff. I love that. I love that. I love that about the later movies. But all right. Next up, guys. Next up. Just cranking through these. Number 8. We got number 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. Now this one was just pure dumb fun, and I actually really really enjoyed this one. Um I think I think it does kind of get a little slow. Like when they're on the boat, it seems to drag a bit, and that could have been cut down, I think. Um because they do spend more time on the boat than in Manhattan, but I do like I enjoy the kills on the boat. I like being on the boat and like I think it's creepy and I think I love that guitar, the electric guitar kill. That was great. Like that shot where he's just like boom. Amazing. Amazing. And I like all the different characters in this. Um you had the nerd, like the like rocker chick and then the like the final girl in this one, she was cute. She was like a, kind of a goody goody, but she was scared scared of swimming. That was the weird part about this one. They like really tried almost a little too hard to give her some kind of like traumatic backstory, and it was really unnecessary, I thought. Um, with her uncle like throwing her in the water. I got thrown in the water as a kid like that too by, my uncle, and he just wanted to like teach me how to swim too. Like, and I don't know, I did end up crying, but everyone was around, so it wasn't like he was trying to be malicious or anything. But as a kid, it's like it can be traumatic, but they took it to a whole nother level with this. Like, it was a thing with this girl. Like, she was just terrified. And I don't know. It just seemed a little much to me. Like, okay, he threw you in the water once, but then he got, I guess, and then she remembers, like, oh, like she repressed she repressed Jason being in there too and pulling her down in the lake. Like, I don't know. That seemed a little contrived to me too. All that whole little story. I was like, I don't care for this. And we're supposed to feel super sorry for her, and I don't know. Um Jason was a little weird in this too when it came to that. Like, her seeing young Jason very at various points of the movie was a little weird. I think that was also unnecessary. That whole thing, very unnecessary. Even at the end where, they're in the sewers, right? And the toxic waste is like coming at them. And then he dissolves, he like disintegrates or whatever, dissolves. And then he turns into that kid. It's like, why? Like, I get it symbolically, that he's dead, and that's like, the kid that she saw or whatever, and that was him when in his innocence, or I don't know. It was again unnecessary. Like, we didn't need to see that. And it just came off weird, even though we do have to have like that willing suspension of disbelief at this point with Jason. It's still a lot to ask, I think, the audience, when really we're only there for like cool kills, and we're not really there for character development, to be honest. At least not this franchise. I felt it wasn't really built for that. Like, it's literally like you go in and out. Go in like with the creepy vibes, stalk the kids, kill the kids, and you're out. And that's it. It's supposed to be fun, but when you try to like give them this backstory, and like, it's just, why? They're gonna, it just detracts, I think, from what we're trying to do here. It's different with other series, I'll say, with other slashers and other horror movies. Yeah, you want character development, but not with Friday the 13th. Unless there's like a final girl and there's like an overarching story, or like, for instance, Tommy Jarvis. Okay, that was over a couple of movies. His story arc was over a couple of movies, so it's cool to have that like storyline and that character development for him. But everyone else, I don't care. I really don't. Did he learn how to swim? Not because of the push, but I did float up. I floated up and I was like crying. It was scary at the time, but he didn't mean to like scare me. He was just, he was just having fun. And oh my God. Eventually. Yeah, I took swimming classes after that. That's for sure. Anyway. So yeah, I could relate to that girl, but not, yeah, it was cheese. Cheese, a bunch of cheese. But let's move on. Let's keep it going. Keep it going, because there's a lot of movies. Number 7, Freddy versus Jason. I Love this movie. Okay. I know it's number 7, and that sounds like it's low, but you guys, there's a lot of cool Friday movies. So from here up to number 1 are all movies I dig. I don't really have like huge issues with. Like I can watch them over and over. And Freddy versus Jason, it does have flaws, but I still really enjoy the movie. Like it's super entertaining. The way that it's cut too, it's like I love it feels balanced. Like it doesn't, you know how I was saying earlier with like New Blood, like, oh man, it like drags the first half, but then once they get to the end, it's good. Like this one, it just feels like, okay, we're on to the next one, on to the next one. And it's like it doesn't stop. And it just each scene just gets like better and better, even though, you know, there are problems with the concept and the storyline, right? Especially when it comes to Jason. I think a lot of us already kind of know this, like those who've seen it, and that are fans of the franchise. Like, if you watch all of them, you know the flaws in this, and that's that they make him scared of water, that he's traumatized, right? Similar to the other girl that we were just talking about. Yeah. So that doesn't make sense because clearly he uh he uses water, you know, as a weapon almost in some of these movies. So there's one movie where I remember the scene where he just literally walks in and goes out to the boat where Tommy is. So it's like he wasn't he wasn't super scared of the water at that point. So yeah, in that respect, yeah, there are definitely issues, but I think as like a standalone, there isn't a problem with it. I think it's really good actually. The characters, oh man, they're like annoying, but you're also rooting for them in a weird way. Um yeah, I love, oh my god, the Ritter kid in that. What's his name? Jason Ritter? He is super cute, dude. Hold on. Is it Jason Ritter? Yeah, Jason Ritter. I loved him in this. I loved him in this. I wish we could have seen more of that. I want a sequel to that one. Um, God, how cool would that be? But anyways, this movie is so it's just so awesome that it even exists. Like it's just crazy. You know, it's crazy that they were able to accomplish this. I always say this about film in general. Like a lot of these movies, like I don't think a lot of people understand, like, it's really freaking hard to get a green light with movies, and on top of that, for everything to go well. So when you have a good movie um, and it gets praise or whatever, this one was kinda lukewarm, I think, with, like, people whether people I think people really did enjoy it when it came out. I think it as time has passed, it has received a little more criticism, but for the time, like, it was awesome, and so, yeah, as I was saying, like, a lot of these movies, it's like, we're lucky to even see them. A lot of them don't see the light of day, and they just get shelved, you know? So it's really cool that we even got Freddy versus Jason at all, and I'm super grateful for this movie. It came out when I was in high school, and I vividly remember going to the theater and watching this. The whole theater was like loud as heck, but it was so fun. And everyone was clapping and cheering whoever they were going for. And yeah, if you ask me, okay, so earlier on, like in high school when I had seen it, I would tell you JoJo from my what junior year. This was what 2004. Oh my god, let me see. Freddy versus Jason. 2003. So okay, I was a junior. I think I was a junior. Um, Yeah, JoJo from high school would say that Freddy won, but watching it again and again these past few years, I feel like the more I see it, the more I think Jason won. So he just seemed to have a better handle on the situation. No pun intended with him like having Freddy's head in his hand, right? So yeah, it's just so fun. This movie is so fun. And I'll pop it in whenever. Hey, Second Street, how's it going? Just doing a little late night stream here. I don't know if it's super late. Yeah, it's kind of late on a Monday, just because, yeah, I watched all the Friday movies over the weekend, binged them all, and it was a feat, but I did it. All right, next up, we have number 6, part 6. Jason Lives. What? I have the shirt. This one was so good, dude. Oh, this one gets better every single time I watch it. No joke. Like, I loved it when I first watched it back in the day, but not to the degree. Like, to me, it was like, oh, cool, another Friday movie. But the more I watch it, just the more I appreciate it for some reason. I think because the fact that what I was saying earlier with the supernatural thing, like this was them taking a swing, and I thought it just fit so well. And even though it's cheesy and fun, like it is just such a cool way to like incorporate that. Like the cold open of this movie when the lightning strikes. Oh my gosh. That's so great. So great. The soundtrack is great too. Yeah, the soundtrack was awesome in this one. I think that's the one that I was thinking. Let's see. What else did I say here? Yeah, I love that the whole kid situation. Like that I felt raised the stakes too in this. And even though you knew, of course, like they weren't going to die somehow, like it was just crazy seeing him approach the kids. And like you weren't sure for half a second, like, oh my God, he better not do anything to these kids. It had me on the edge of my seat for real. And I already know what happens, but still, like, I still feel like I'm on edge when I see those scenes and it makes me super uncomfortable. Um, and yeah, I love the counselors in this too. They were they were pretty good. The let's see. Oh. Oh. Yeah. The tracking shots in the forest, dude. That was awesome. That was the first time I felt like, "Oh my god, like Jason is a force to be reckoned with." Like it was so creepy the way he was just like he was on a mission and you couldn't get in his way or he would just chop your head off and he was just a beast. And the tracking shot like worked really well. I feel like this was this the only movie that did that? It was the only one that I really noticed it in. But man, it was so effective for me. Like it just it gave that level of suspense that I feel like the others didn't really have when it came to that, when he's just like going through the forest and he's like stalking people. It was pretty creepy. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I can't remember how this one ends right now. I forget. But yeah, overall, really enjoy that movie. Really, really enjoy it. So, thanks, Las Cruces. Yeah, how to bust this shirt out. Okay. So, okay. Jason. Oh, also the effects and the cold open. The cold open really grabs me in this one. Like, anytime you mention this movie, that's immediately what I think of is that beginning, that first scene, and yeah, the effects in that are great when they cut when Jason looks at the camera and then they cut to the title. Ooh, so good. So good. At this point, I feel like they had it down pretty good, like the pacing of these movies. So, all right, next up, number 5, we got the remake. A lot of people refer to it as the remake. This was the one that was released in 2009, I want to say. Let me see. Jason remake. It's technically a requel though, right? Yeah, it's 2009. I always thought, for some reason, I always thought it was a remake, but then in watching it this time, I paid more attention to the beginning, and they actually reiterate the story of the first 2 movies or something like that. So it feels like a sequel. Anyway, um, I really enjoyed watching this movie the other day as well. This one, I love the look of it. The artistic design of it was great. I feel very similarly with the Freddy vs. Jason movie, actually. I think they got that part right. Like it it really did feel like the characters were plucked out of the movies, the older movies that we, you know, loved. Not the later ones, not the later installments, but yeah, the older ones. And they made these, Freddy vs. Jason and this one, and it just like you could tell the art department definitely like they knew what they were doing with this, and the color palettes were on point. Everything was awesome. Like I loved the characters in this as well. I love the fact that the girl that they were trying to save was like underneath the little cabins. Like that was nuts. Like that's a whole nother twist that like I felt they had a lot of creative liberty there, and they did that and they went through with it and it turned out great, I thought. Um and he had her down there. They weren't super in your face about why he had her down there besides the little the necklace, the chain. Cuz she looks like the mom. And to me, that makes sense. It's not too much backstory, but it's still enough to know, like, oh, he sees her differently than the rest. And yeah, that was really, really cool. And let's see, the actual teenagers in this one, again, they had character, but not enough to where you're just like, okay, I'm over it. And that's not including the brother of the girl that was trapped down there, right? Because with that one, we did need a little more backstory. We had to know why he wanted to. At first, I was like, oh, is this like, who is it? Why is he looking for her so hard, But it makes sense. What was weird, though, was like, it's like they clearly had a rocky relationship. I never paid much mind to his explanation of that, but yeah, it was like he hadn't really he like ditched her and the mom. He's like, "Oh yeah, I wasn't around and I just left them and she's been taking care of my mom who had cancer but now has passed away." And it was like, "Dude, where you been, bro? Like that sucks." And luckily, he's like trying to save her now, but I was like, "Damn, like what did they do to you?" Anyway, so yeah, I was judging pretty hard there, but other than that, like the kills were pretty awesome. Yeah, like everything. Oh, the cold open in this one, I loved that it was pretty long, actually. I loved it because I was like, hey, we haven't gotten a title yet. That's weird. And then yeah. Oh, I love that they brought back, there are a lot of little like subtle throwbacks to like some of the older ones, like the sack that he wore in the beginning. Um and what was it? And some of the other things, I forget. I forget. But yeah, a lot of little details, which was really cool. I thought that it was rewarding. Again, if you've seen all the other ones, like it's cool to see that they added all that stuff. Let's see. What are people saying here? Hey, Big Remo, what's going on? How are you tonight on this lovely Monday? I'm old enough to remember when all these movies came out. I saw them all at the movie. Dude, that's so cool. I think I started watching them in theaters. It's gotta be, yeah, because okay. New Nightmare, for the Freddy side of it, New Nightmare was the first one that I like rented, I want to say. And then the first time I went to the movies to watch a Freddy one was Freddy vs. Jason. I wasn't, yeah, it was high school, I want to say. And then, yeah, because that had to be, and then that had to be it. That had to be it. With, I'm thinking Michael Myers. With Michael Myers, it was H2O. That was the first one I saw in theaters. I rented Curse of Michael Myers, which is number 5 or number 6. I always get confused. Rented that one with my mom. But yeah. So I didn't get to see them in theaters like that. I envy you though. That's awesome. That's awesome because they're so fun to watch in theaters. It's such a cool thing to see people react. That's what I love about horror, and this is similar to comedy too. Just to see people erupt with like emotion is so cool. um, love it, love it. With the exception of the first one I saw on Showtime when it was still new. The rest I was old enough to go to the movies. That's awesome. Hey, Joseph, what's up? I'm just going through these movies. Gomez, how's it going? How's it going? I'm trying to keep with this horror vibe that we've got going on. I have other shows, you guys. Hunger for Horror isn't my only show, but I'm doing it more this. I'm kind of focusing more on A Hunger for Horror this month since it is spooky month. So that's why I'm doing all these like rankings and trying to get out reviews and stuff for the holiday. And since we had Friday the 13th last Friday, I thought I would do a little ranking here. So that's what we're doing. All right, moving along. So yeah, remake / requel, loved. I noticed Jason did look a little like thinner. I don't know if that's the right word. He looked a little smaller, but I didn't care. I thought I liked the look of him in that. I did. So, all right. Let me get another drink real quick. Part 2. That's the next one on the list, which I have at number 4. So, part 2, this was interesting. So, when I'm watching them, right, I'm like jotting stuff down and I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be number 2 or probably going to be number 3, right? And this one was at the top for a long time. And then as I kept watching more movies, I was like, oh God, how is part 2 my number 4 right now? Like that's how much I like these movies. So I have a lot of love for part 2. I think it's a great sequel to the first one. It you know how sometimes with these horror movies, like it's just such a departure with some of the installments, like for instance, Jason X or something like that, where it's just like completely different. This one just felt like the whole look of it, the way that they build suspense in those first 2 movies was pretty masterful. Like, I in watching them again, I really kinda observed that and was, like, kinda trying to analyze, like, what they did because it's not it's not like a normal slasher, and I think that's why, this series is as successful as it is because the first 2, I feel like, are so solid, and they are pretty creepy. Like, I'm sure the old look of them really adds to, like, the creepiness now. It's kinda how I feel about, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre too, like, there's a grit to it. That's how I feel about the first 2 in this series. Not quite the same, I think Texas Chainsaw is, like, on another level, but these 2 movies, they take their time with building the suspense and making sure, like, that you know you're being watched kinda thing. That's the vibe you get when you watch it, and I think part 2 does it so well, and, the the final girl, I really like the final girl in this. She was great. She was smart. She was hiding when she should be hiding, dodging when she should be dodging, and then she freaking, like, worked the, freaking psychology on him. Like, she used some reverse psychology on Jason's ass, and he wasn't expecting it. And I love that. That's very original for back then, you know? The first 2 movies are very original. Even though they were biting on Halloween, they changed it up though. They didn't exactly do it like just like Halloween did. Like, they made it their own. And it's awesome that part 2 really is in line with Friday in that regard. I just Yeah, those 2 movies are great. When you're talking about seeing Jason older, because with the first one, it's his mom, but with this one, it's interesting to see him with the sack on, and it's funny because they don't show it until a little later, and it just adds to the mystery of it, right? And it's like, it is pretty creepy, and it makes sense because it's like, out in the woods, and then there's barns out there too. Like, so it makes sense that this weird dude, like, is trying to scrounge up things to, like, clothes from different places, and, he ends up with that look, and it's so creepy, I think. Um, I will say that the kills weren't as standout in this one. I think that's what docked it down for me just a bit, because in some of these other movies, the kills are very memorable, and with this one, it was more about the building of suspense than it was about the gore, and, which there's nothing wrong with, it's just different, and I really love the gore in these movies, in the Friday movies. So yeah, I love how creative they can get. So with this one, as good as I think it is, um it was hard to to compete with some of the other installments. I'll say that. Joseph says, "Not much. Just got home from a monthly secret screening." Ooh, Bloody Birthday. That's cool. I never seen that one. Hey, I did end up seeing Chopping Mall though, the one you recommended me. I loved it. That was so fun. Gotta post my daily comic horror today. Or I do too, actually. I posted one earlier, but I'm behind a day, so I gotta post another one tonight. Thanks for reminding me, Gomez. I'm like, I made a commitment and I gotta like do it. The hashtag 31 days of Halloween, right? Jason was always caught off guard when they fought back, right? He's just like, "Ugh, what? You're fighting back? What? Did you say you're my mom? Huh?" Even the hockey mask. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I was surprised though that like, a lot of times it's like, "Girl, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?" And it's so funny because like what has now become cliche and, predictable or eye rolly or just like cheesy, right? Like back then it was like it it's the first time audiences were seeing this unfold. And it's so cool to see that. Like I think I don't remember which part it was, but they're going into the barn and I don't know if you guys remember this, but in the movies, I think it a Geico commercial. They would always play it before your movie started at the theater. And it was like a spoof on old slashers. And it was like, let's go hide in the barn where there's but chainsaws and stuff, And so they go running and anyways, so yeah, you see those scenes in these earlier installments of Friday where it's just like, "Oh man, why would you go into the tool shed where there's like knives and guns and stuff in there and there's like chainsaws and anything that you can think of that could become a weapon is in there." And here they are like hiding there and they don't take one themselves and use it as a weapon. It's so hilarious, but back then that's how it was. Yeah, it was awesome. Thanks for that recommendation. I recommended it to Perry Comics after that. So I gotta check if he ended up doing. He was gonna do a he does since he does those types of videos where it's like first time watching kind of thing. And so I told him to do that because that would be cool. It'd be a good one for him to watch. Let's hide in the cemetery. Yeah, exactly. It's like, why would you go there? Oh, but it's so funny. It's so funny to see where all that came from. Um, only on only one X. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Ugh, I dig it though. That's what I'm saying though too. It's like we've evolved. Film has evolved. Horror has evolved, and it should keep doing so. And that's why I get annoyed now, like when you get these sequels to some movies that aren't really pushing the envelope because we can't just keep going to these older movies and just being rehashing them, right? Like we just need something different, a little different, at least a little different. Like I was saying with Friday the 13th, like they specifically sought out to copy Halloween's success and but they made changes to it. It's not exactly the same. And like the big twist ending with it being the mom. Okay, we're going to get to Friday the first one, but yeah, like that's awesome. That's something that you didn't see from Halloween. So it's like they took that creative liberty and they didn't just take it like a template. And I feel like lately sometimes I'm like, you could have been a little more creative with this. Come on. Ah, my mouse is messing up. I'll use the... Hey Trev, what's going on? Hope you're having a good night. We're just chatting about some Jason Voorhees. All right. Continuing. So yes. What is going on with my mouse right now? I swear, I always have technical difficulties only when I'm live. All right. Part 2, great movie. Number 3, we got number 4 with the final chapter. The final chapter, this is another one where I was surprised that in this last watch, I actually didn't like it as much. Don't get me wrong. Blanket statement kind of. I love these movies, so just keep that in mind. But I was surprised that it didn't hold my interest as much as some of the others. And I was like, dang, because I remember like my other viewings of this movie, and I remember thinking it was just amazing. Like I didn't have really any kind of issues with it. And not that I have huge issues now, it's just I did feel like the first 2 acts were a little slower. The characters, like, they're literally just sitting in this house, and then they go off and have sex or whatever and have their fun, slowly get picked off, which is, typically what happens in these movies, but it was less like there was less back and forth dialogue, I will say, and it just like the dude watching the like old porn movie or whatever, like that was really boring to me. Like I was like, why are we hanging on this guy just continuously laughing at this porn movie? Like we get it, right? Like they could have moved on from that. A little details like that, I felt like they could have cut it down a bit. It wasn't really serving to build suspense anyways, and it wasn't developing character at all either, so it's like, why are we hanging on this? And I felt like there should have been a little more back and forth, from the 2 between the 2 houses. Uh, but I love this movie. That being said, I do love this movie. Corey Feldman, come on. He, like, makes the movie, guys. He's so cool. Uh, I did like, when the other the characters in the party house were introduced, and there was that back and forth with the guys talk with the computer, like, running through information on this, like, imaginary computer. I like all that humor. Yeah, the humor in this was really good. I wish we got a little more of that, I guess is what I'm saying. Because like, later when they're just in the house, it's like nothing literally nothing is happening, and it's the kills are great in this. The handstands kill, that shot of Jason just going like this between his legs, oh my god, love it. So good. So good. The bathroom shower kill. Amazing when he bashes his head in. I showed that on Instagram the other day. So good. So good. Ah. When I revisit movies I loved growing up, they have not held up well. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Sometimes it doesn't. Like there's other movies, like I was saying with Lives. Yeah, Jason Lives. That one got better for me over time. And I liked it from the get, but now I like it even more. It's like honestly, like number 4, number 4 and number 6 are like tied, but I had to rank, so I just chose. Hey Todd, what's going on? Hope you've been good. Hey PJ, what's going on? Hope you're having a good night. Uh, 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 uh. But anyways, okay. So, yes, final chapter. What else can I say about this? Okay, so this one, I feel like they did try to have a little more character development, and it was a little more character driven because of the two houses. You had the one with the family, and I love their little dynamic of the mom and the kids. That's why I thought it was so freaking weird that, like, they didn't show her kill. I would love to, like, figure out why. Did they, like, cut it out? Or I'd love to know the behind the scenes of that. Um, because I literally rewinded it after the movie. I was like, "Did I just freaking miss her kill? Like, why what happened to her? Like, there's how did I miss it?" And I rewinded it. Anyway, and I didn't see it. I was like, "Wait, what's going on here?" And what I think I read a synopsis online of it. No, I watched the next one and they briefly talk about it. Like, "Oh, you're that kid who's" when they were talking to Jarvis, Tommy Jarvis, he was I think the cop was talking to him and goes, "Oh, you're that kid who lost his mom and friends in the woods or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, so yeah, I guess she did die." Because all you see is like her surprised, shocked face, and then that they cut. So I'm curious. Horror heads who are watching, please tell me if y'all know. Otherwise, I'll do my own research. But yeah, I was like, come on. I liked her. Again, man. I like the moms in this, and they die. So it's all good. It's okay. What else? Oh, and then we had the random camper guy that was like worried about Jason coming or still being alive. And I felt like I really did like him, but he was also kind of unnecessary. I feel like the family could have found out a different way. I don't know. That felt weird. Mm, but yeah, great movie though. Like again, just had that issue like it with I wish there was a little more happening in the party house, but that's all. Okay, next. Joseph says, I believe there's a deleted scene that shows her death. Oh, I got to go back and check that out. Yeah, you could tell something was up with that. And what's funny is once I actually went and double checked, I kind of vaguely remember when I watched it the first few times. I remember thinking like, "Oh man, what happened to her?" But then I always forget and I never really care after that. But this time since I'm doing all this like write up and stuff, I'm like, "No, I have to know what happened. I have to know what happened. I'm not just going to brush it off this time." Okay. Next at number 2. Oh my gosh, guys, we're almost through this. Part 3. Woo, part 3. Okay, this is another one where I was surprised how much joy I got out of it this go around because in the past, it's always kind of been just there. And I never really cared for it as much. I think because Final Chapter left such a huge impression on me back then that like it kind of dwarfed part 3. Does that make sense? So I never really gave part 3 that respect, and now I feel like after watching everything and kind of evaluating and like, you know, doing what I was telling you guys where it's like I take my own enjoyment and just, the quality of the movie. I kind of just take the best of both worlds and see where it lines up in my list. But like, yeah, and I wasn't really looking at it that way in the past. So I kind of almost disregarded the movie, which is terrible. But I do remember back then thinking like, wow, like these 3D shots are very intentional, right? That's what I did remember about it. And that was really it. And like the bar or the barn scene. And that was it. Yeah. And so now, after taking everything into consideration, it's different for me. This is the one with the barn, no? Oh no, that's part 2, right? I forget. There's multiple barns actually. So um no, but yeah, this one I really enjoyed because I never really thought about it, but there are a lot of definitive moments for Jason in this. Like, if you think about it, it's the first time we see him with the mask, the hockey mask. And I liked how big and menacing he looked in this. This is the first time we see him look like a monster, really. And you get to see his face. Um Mm, 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 mm. Oh, shoot. I got confused, guys. This is the one with the handstands killed. Yeah, this is the one. That kill was amazing. The handstands kill. My bad, my bad. Um, so yeah, and this is the one with the eyeball kill. That one was crazy too. I love that one, dude. That I have a t-shirt. Oh, I should have worn that one. No, this one's cool too. I have one with a t-shirt, kind of like the eyeball popping out. That's a great kill. So yeah, two great kills in this one. Um, this one they really pumped up the gore. It was less about character development at all, even though they weren't bad. Like the characters were pretty cool in this one, I thought. Um, yeah, less character driven, more gore, which I like. That's what I like from a Friday movie, you know? It was everything I would expect and love about Friday the 13th in a nice little package. So, yeah. Mm, let's see. I think that's it. I think that's it. Okay, cool. So, yes. I've never really seen it in the 3D. Like I never put the glasses on. I don't know if that actually works. Does it? Hockey mask helped Jason immensely. The white hooded mask had to go. Yeah. Yeah. I liked the hood though too, but the hockey mask, yeah, that was something that was on another level of creepy though. Two Gun, what's up? Todd says, I agree that part three is a fun film. Jason is dispatched in a goofy way, though. I don't remember. That's the thing. I forget. If I don't write it down, stuff will mesh. Like that's why I'm trying to read my chicken scratches here, but it's a little difficult. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think we've covered part three. Part three, again, just a nice little Jason package for you there. Love it. Okay. And obviously, y'all know the last one. Number one, Friday the 13th. Of course. Of course. My fave. Um, it's funny because I was watching like some of the interviews and stuff, like the behind the scenes interviews, and it seemed like they just didn't really have a lot of faith in this film as like a film, like a quality film. It because they I think originally just honestly went for the cash grab, but what they ended up with, the actual product, was kind of amazing, I thought. Like in watching it again, um I said it earlier, but the way that they built suspense was really masterful. Like there's one scene in particular where I don't remember if it was part 1 or part 2. Those two films mesh for me because it really does seem like one long movie to me, those two. But there's one scene where final girl she's pouring herself some coffee and she's like scared. Like she could tell she's like got this, you know, like nervousness about her. And she's like looking over her shoulder kind of thing, but still, you could tell she's trying to tell herself like it's fine. Keep pouring the coffee or whatever. And that it's funny cuz like I could see them easily being like, "Oh, just cut this scene. Nothing's happening. She's just pouring the coffee." But that scene, like after it just cuts, you think he's going to pop out. You think I don't know, there's gonna be some kind of jump scare, and it's literally nothing, and then it just cuts, and that to me was like, "Wow, that really puts you on edge," because like, even though nothing was happening, you saw kind of like the nervousness, and they weren't scared to just, like, leave that shot lingering, and I don't know. I feel like that's not used enough these days, that technique where it's like sometimes silence is, like, the scariest thing ever, you know? And it was a moment where her friends were, like, all they found already had found a lot of them dead, and, like, she was waiting on somebody to come back to her, and, like, um, yeah. So that scene in particular, I love that. But anyway, yeah, part 1 is a classic. I mean, what can you say? It's I love the twist ending. I think that was brilliant for the time as well, and in distinguishing itself from, like, the rest or from Halloween, right? So, yeah, like, also, like, the music cues, that was another thing too, like, they only like, you know how I was saying the silence is creepy as well, um, the music cues only come out when Jason's about to, like, attack or he's, like, stalking, and then it really doesn't have a lot of other music. So, it just is part of his character almost, so that's awesome. I think they were just really experimental with a lot of things, and they had point of view that point of view kind of, shot and stuff too, and, you end up seeing or realizing that, it's the mom the whole time, and the way that she dies too is, like, shocking as well. It's just so cool. Oh, I don't know. I wish I was in the theater when I saw that movie. Like, how man, Big Remo. Oh wait, did you I think Big Remo said he that was the only one he didn't see in the theater, was that it? But dude, I'm so envious of anybody who saw that in theaters because I don't know, that movie did some things back in the day that I feel like were new experiences to the audience, and I would have loved to have seen it. Just like how I feel about Freddy versus Jason. That was also kind of a big deal. It was like a milestone in the franchise. People were waiting years and years for something like that. And when it finally happened, like, it was so cool to be in the theater and see people reacting to everything on screen. That's why I also love, like, watching movies like this with people that haven't seen it yet. I love seeing the reactions and stuff. That's so cool. Two Gun says, "I remember watching part 3 in 3D. That's great. Did How did they do that? Like, did they give those, like, red and blue, glasses? Like, I don't know. Yeah, some of those 3D scenes, though, were a little too in your face, no pun intended. They just dragged him out like crazy. The jump scare at the end is only rivaled by the scene in Exorcist 3. Oh, yeah. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, man. Todd, what did you think of, did you watch the new Exorcist? Let me know. But yeah, so I got a lot of love for the original Friday the 13th movie. The music's haunting. Harry Manfredini um, really killed it, honestly. Amazing. 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 And yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. If I don't know who's still in the chat, but I have some codes to give away. And if you're not watching live, maybe somebody on the rewind can get these. I don't know. I had to use a few of them because, like I said, some of these discs were faulty, but I think these should all be good. So here you go. For anybody who's never seen Friday the 13th movies or has ever owned them. Here you go. Here's your chance. I'm trying to hold them still so you could um, grab those. There you go. You could pause it if you want. And you could snag these too. Oh, come on. Focus, focus, focus. Please? Oh my God, please. It's not doing it. Let me get closer. Trying to like cover the back. Cover me because then it'll focus on me. There you go. Boom. Shakalaka. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go ahead and take that. All right, cool. Enjoy those. Like I said, I used the other ones, so I can't give you those. And then the little pack came with some cute little cards here. Show you guys. I like stills from the first one. Oh no, this is Manhattan. Oh my gosh, this moment in this movie where he's just like when he sees himself on the billboard or sees the mask. It's so funny. Love that. Oh, it has the posters on the back too. That's pretty cool. I love this poster. Okay, that's the Saw thing I was talking about. That's the best kill of that movie when he kills a doctor. What a scumbag doctor. Oh, see? Here we got Jason attacking while he's in water. What? But I thought he was super scared of water. My shirt. Yep. Cool. Woof. I think the best part about this movie, the fifth one, is the hockey mask, probably. Oh my God, the scene. And they're dancing. Try to remember this stuff. I don't remember this. I would love to know how many people I saw get murdered this weekend. Here's a potato sack. I like him in that. He's cool. All right. Oh, Todd said he didn't see The Exorcist yet. I saw your review, but I'm still on the fence. I just feel it's unnecessary. Legion is the only sequel needed. I might be too stubborn on that point, though. I don't know. I really don't. I don't think it's like terrible. I think it's okay. It's okay. So I don't know. To each their own, though. And I totally understand if you wouldn't want to watch it. It's, yeah. But all right, guys, that's about it for this stream. Thank you guys for hanging out. I can't believe I did all those movies in an hour and 30 minutes. Because there were 12 movies to go through. So yeah, it took a while. And I'm glad I did it though, because like I said, I wanted to have fun for the Friday the 13th. Like, yeah, it's just not too often that I get to do this. So I had the opportunity and I thought I would do it. And here we are. So, all right, guys. Well, have a great week. I will be doing a live stream on Saturday because there are UFC fights. So if you guys are into that, join me there. It usually starts at 7 o'clock p.m. PDT. So yeah, and let me know who you guys pick for the event. That'd be cool. But Tugun says, "What franchise are you going to do next?" Maybe Freddy. Maybe the Nightmare movies. I got my set right there. I might do that. It's been a while since I've seen those. Honestly, those don't get enough love from me. It's always like Friday and Saw and Halloween that like I rotate more. And even then, it's not like often. Like I'll just pop random ones in occasionally. But Freddy doesn't get enough love. I haven't seen those in quite a while. So PJ says, I love Freddy. The Nightmare movies are so much fun. Oh, yeah. Those are. Now, those. So when I was growing up, I kind of was a little more reluctant with those because I really enjoy creepy Freddy as opposed to like, I mean, he's always creepy, I guess, but he becomes a bit of a comedian. So, and when I was a kid, like I didn't like that about him. So now I'm okay with it and it's cool. Like it's fun. I don't know. Maybe that's why I don't like watch them as much. I don't know. But yeah, I might just sit down one of these weekends. Maybe for Halloween. But then it'd be cool to do the Halloween series around that time. I don't know. I'm undecided, but I am concentrating more on horror, as y'all know, this month. So you can look forward to some other series that I'll be watching and ranking. And I'm trying to get reviews out too, but I just got hit with a big project for work, so I don't know if I'll have time to crank those out this week anymore. I was going to, but yeah, the way it's looking, probably not. Maybe the following week, but we'll see. We'll see. But anyways, guys, all right, I'm gonna head out, and like I said, have a good week, and hopefully I get to see you all on Saturday. Yeah. Later.